This episode is brought to you by Oasis Tech Cube. You need a new phone, or maybe you want to get another gaming controller? What about earbuds? Because this is a place for you. I'm talking a one-stop shop for all things technology. And if you're looking for somewhere that close, like Outworthy inside, they got a location there. And if you live up north, you can always go to Sunset Crest. 2 convenient locations. Everything you need. Just call 822-8434 for more information, or go to the Instagram page, Oasis Tech Cube, and say that I know sent you. Now, let's start the show. This is the I Know podcast, where we all about healthy debate, honest conversation, and talking bare junk. Information, knowledge, observation. This is the I Know podcast, I-N-O, information, knowledge, observation. Also, I know nothing. My name is Marcus. We got Mosey in the building.
Whoa.
We got Kofi in the building.
Yo.
We got Rome. This is a full house. I don't know. Let's hopefully this house all the time. We got King for the first time.
Yeah,
Big up King.
man.
Cheese is good to be with the main. Also with a very special guest. So I guess we can get into it now. I was talking to my mother, I would say like 4 months ago. Just reminiscing on like childhood days, and I was like, "Yo, I vaguely remember there was like a clown, like whatever happened to clowns in Barbados and thing." And she was like, "Oh yeah, but you know that's Paul Ashby." I was like, who Paul Ashby, right? Yeah, you know, like CEO say they got Paul Ashby. I was like, what? So I was like, hold on, okay, all right. So obviously, there's more to this man than meets the eye. So I was like, I would love if he could come and join me, man. Because, you know, one thing about us, although you may not have watched the show before, we let you talk about like very unique stories and that kind of thing, right? And talking to a clown, it would be fun. Now imagine talking to a clown that turned out to retire from being a clown. What kind of a
It's not
story is
exactly
that?
like a natural trajectory. What an art.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, we have a building with us. Put your hands together for Paul Ashby.
Yay!
Paul, what do you say?
I am good, man. I don't know how you get me to do this at all. That's the sort of thing that you like to keep as, you know, anonymous. You're not supposed to know the person behind the makeup.
So, like, CEO is your Bruce Wayne?
But he's actually the Joker. He's actually the Joker. Who would have thought? Oh my! All right, well, let's get straight into it, because we want to talk about also just you being here as a CEO as well. We want to talk about that as well. But before we get into that, how did you get into being a clown? First of all.
Yeah, so I was at community college. This was around 1987 or so, between 87 and 89. And some friends of mine, I went to law school. So from some friends of mine. Easy, guys, easy.
Yuck is crazy.
Easy.
Shout out my dog, man. Shout out.
Yeah, but
I know that's problematic. But anyhow, I'm gonna try to get through this. So I heard that there were some friends of mine, or actually some former schoolmates, because they were a little older than I am and was at the time. They were doing this gig on weekends at a place called Fantastic Party Planners. So they were pretty much doing this clown stuff, going around to parties, and it was at community college, and I thought, this might be a good way to make some extra money on the weekends. So I figured out, you know, who they were, and I went and I asked, and that was the start of me going to entertain children on Saturday afternoons.
So that was like what age?
Yeah, I would have been probably 17, 18 at the time, around that time, 16, 17 actually. Yeah. So
the thing is, like, to have a side gig on a Saturday, which could be like, I don't know, already working at your supermarket, that's one thing.
That's
you're already working at your family business, that's another thing.
You ain't driving a taxi on a Saturday.
Right, exactly. Right. I feel like you have to be willing to do something like that.
Yeah.
So like, what is it that just drew you to just being like, oh, I don't mind doing it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I am a fun-loving individual. I like the outdoors. I like having... I mean, I think the thing about being a clown, though, there has to be a certain degree of smarts about it, right? Because, you know, you're dealing with children who themselves are witty. And you also want to challenge them. You just don't want to go and be silly. You want to challenge them as well. And the idea of doing magic, because we also did some magic tricks as well along the way. So that always intrigued me, actually. As a child, you want, figure out these things. I should have brought the coloring book, actually. I should have done that, man. Jeez, I missed that. I missed that trick. But yeah, so I think the idea of entertainment and the idea of, intriguing the little children, showing them a good time, I liked it. And of course, I was making money. That was the biggest part of it. But
it was good money, I think.
I would say, yeah, it kept me doing things that I wanted to do. Could party, could hang out. So,
but
yeah.
Right, it's 1987. Like, what do you have to do?
It's been a while. I remember I was at community college, that was the prime of my life more or less.
I don't mean any disrespect to older folk, right? I just can't imagine what was going on. Like after between 4 and 8, what are you doing? Watching the news at 7.
That's a side note. What was there to do in like the late 80s? Just by the way.
No, there were parties. Back in the day, you had things like the warehouse. Y'all don't even know about the warehouse. Good. Right? Look at these men. Like, these men are so lost. They actually had nightclubs in Barbados, right?
The warehouse.
Yeah.
Where was that?
That was right there in Cavens Lane. Just upstairs of where the Waterfront Cafe. Waterfront Cafe, guys?
Oh, right.
Waterfront Cafe?
Okay.
Yes.
Waterfront Cafe.
Club 360. And then that turned into the club, then Club 360.
Something like that.
I don't even know them ones. Actually, across the street from there was Pier 29, I think it was. There was another club across the street from there.
Bump and Wine.
Bump and Wine was at the front, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think
Bump and Wine wasn't like where Water Cafe, like up there.
Right. That was at the front. No, across the street was another nightclub. So you had the warehouse and another nightclub across the street.
Right.
So yeah, there were things to do, man. Actually, there were far more things to do than there is now.
You see, by the way, also the organizer of Island Mass.
Oh, that is true.
So when he says these things, there's still a bit of credibility in his understanding of the entertainment space, right? I told you that, right? Okay, right. Okay, so going back to what you were saying. Okay, so it was on a Saturday and the money was good.
Yeah,
right.
So the other thing is that after a while, maybe a couple of years or so, the owner of the business, Craig Corey, at the time.
Yeah.
He wanted to, he wasn't keen on doing it anymore. In fact, I think he started to do sort of bigger sort of party planning stuff, become more of an entertainment.
Weddings and so on.
Correct, yeah. And so he sold the business, or he gave the business to me more or less. So I took it over. So then I was the person who was actually providing clowns for parties. So it transitioned from me being a clown and being part of the entertainment to owning the business and the entertainment.
So, like, how many clowns we talking about in this agency?
That's a great point. So when we worked there, so it wasn't easy to actually get people to do that job, as you could imagine.
Right,
I think when I was part of the entertainment, it probably was about 4 or 5 of us, which is a lot. When I took it over, we probably had like 2 or 3 people. And then what became popular as well was Santa Clauses. So I remember, I think some of the first Santa Claus gigs we did would have been like Sheraton Center. Sheraton was now sort of opening. Y'all know what Sheraton is, but it was just opening.
Right.
And so it was like around Christmas. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So Santa Claus was a big thing back then too. And so we used to do like clowns and Santa Claus, and actually quite lucrative at the time. I say quite lucrative, but it,
Did you do any like acting before, or you just went straight into like knee deep into clown?
Yeah, never really stage acting before, but always had the interest in the arts and culture and so on. So I did have that interest, but I never actually was a stage performer.
Would you say that you were more naturally driven to it because you wanted money?
Yeah, I also had so on the one hand there was the money, and then the idea of actually owning a business and actually managing a business. Right. That was something that appealed to me.
So that's kind of what linking the two, right? The actual business aspect.
Yeah, so that side of it. But I did enjoy going to the parties as well. It was a fun thing to do. I can't say I didn't enjoy that. But it's a highly energetic thing. So it could be tiresome. So you spend 2 hours running behind children. That could be a toll on you as well. But fun. And in makeup, so you sweated and could be messy, but It was fun.
Yo, you had difficulty, like, how would you get your materials to work with?
Yeah. So I'd source it from overseas. My initial things I got from Craig, but then, you go overseas and I source magic tricks and so on from overseas. And I had someone who used to make the clown suits for me. If there was a needle worker, and she made the clown suits, which was pretty cool.
I'm just thinking, like, the flow of information is so different now to back then. Like, if I want to do something, I can get on YouTube, I can Google.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm trying to actually imagine, like, obviously there was a lot of apprenticeship from Craig.
Yeah.
But I assuming that can't be everything. What you can do when you know everything that Craig know? You gotta find out for your own. You gotta be in the library.
It's such a niche thing. Like sharing the behind the scenes of a magic trick and how you do it and execute it. And because Barbados is what it is, like you don't. In every neighborhood you can find it.
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
So all that stuff. How did you
That's
back
a great
then
point.
without YouTube and all that? Like find a way to still like be current and all that.
Yeah. So first of all, I taught myself to juggle, because juggling was obviously something you need to do as a clown. So I literally taught myself to juggle. I'm from a book. So I bought a book and it showed you. Yeah. Showed you it taught you literally how to create a figure 8 and them kind of thing. So I taught myself how to juggle.
That's crazy.
And then balloon making animals, that's also a big thing. So literally got that from a book as well, so you figure out the balloons. And those things I actually sourced, like when I went overseas, I went to Puerto Rico, there was a shop there that sold these things, so like wigs and so on. So got some stuff from Puerto Rico one time, and then I think another time was in New York, got some stuff from there. Because you're not going to find it here, as you said,
right.
But there are literally stores designed and for this, specifically for this type of thing.
So like when you're traveling, like you deciding what you can do, the sites you can see, and you're like, yo, I got stuff in the shop.
I figured out where is there a shop that could provide, magic tricks and so on.
That's actually interesting.
Which, by the way, is not necessarily easy to find either. So,
I mean,
it's not easy to find. Yeah, so you got go down some alley somewhere and so on. But that was all part of the fun. I mean,
but if I can ask this though, how did your parents at the time feel?
So it's interesting. First of all, so in traditional sites of things, I was raised by my great aunt, so guardian. So not specifically your parents, but so my guardians. But I don't know. I think it was normal-ish, maybe. I don't think I had any sort of big issues with it. My family probably thought it was normal for me to do something like that. Never an issue. I think at the time too, so by 89, 90, I had a serious girlfriend who happens to be my wife now. So
I want to take a pause because I want to tell you again about Oasis Tech Cube. I mean, we don't talk about things that you could use. But what about you, Car? What about a dash cam? Maybe a rear dash cam? Maybe you want something like a charging mount for your phone in the car. Well, Oasis Tech Cube got all them things. I talk about a one-stop shop. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the page right now and follow them. I want you to save the number. But I really want to thank Oasis Tech Cube for also supporting independent new media and being a partner on the I Know podcast. With that being said, let's get back to the show. If you say any foolishness home, she just like, you look at this clown.
I was actually thinking about it earlier. I wasn't going to say anything. But I was trying to imagine, like, you can your significant other gone overseas, and when you had things done doing is getting
like, how do you explain this to your girlfriends?
It has happened.
In terms of your routine,
big red nose
and so on, have you ever had a situation where a bit that you did was not well
received? But
yeah.
Remember, you're dealing with children, so it can't go too wrong, to be honest.
Personally, I was terrified of clowns.
So that happens for sure. Where you in situation, and that's why you can't just be like anybody doing this. So you have to be sensitive to the circumstances. So you're already outrageously dressed.
Yes.
So in a situation that you might have to tamp down the level of energy that you have, especially if it's the birthday child, right?
Yeah. You don't want to ruin it.
Correct. So tamp down the level of energy. And, probably interact with some other children, get the person comfortable.
Right, okay.
So, it calls for a certain sense of emotional intelligence.
Okay, what about
I didn't even think of that back then.
What about adults back then?
Some adults could be cruel, actually. But adults, what people would try to do, especially if you're doing something in public, would like pull off the wig and those types of things. You could find some children who are completely wicked who want come and get a belly search or It could happen because you got some little wicked children. It's just simple, right? Yeah. But you could also get stern with them too, like. Don't do that again, kind of thing.
Yeah, that voice. Naughty. Naughty is crazy.
Wait, question. What year did it come out? The movie.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Was that before? Was that before you?
That must have been. I don't know. I don't recall actually.
Okay, because I feel like that when that came out, that probably changed your whole game. Like nobody wants to see no clowns. Like, everybody.
The fear of clowns came first, or it came first?
I think people have always had a sense of fear of clowns, which I do not understand why.
Really?
To be honest.
I can be real, you right. Look at you was one. But when I look at a clown, I understand 100%.
You know, the other thing that happened, which became really big. I think we did this with Craig. Went back to Craig. So there was this TV show on CBC where you had Calypso and Mango. What was I can't remember the name of the show though, but that became a really big thing because you go to the show at CBC, all these little children there, entertain them. That became fun because they're not broadcast.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the art of it, but you saw the clown more frequently on TV interaction.
And I guess that did go for business too.
Yeah, it probably did. It probably did.
Oh,
sorry. Nah, we were talking about this.
So did you do you have any like really memorable experiences where things either went incredibly right or incredibly wrong? Where you're just like, man, who's gonna believe it?
I can't say. I mean, one of the things what I would distinguish is what would they say? Lower socioeconomic parties versus, let me say, middle class to different. So lower socioeconomic parties, the party is you go to that party, you for the children party, and then you got the adults party.
Yeah.
And this thing running for a long time. And they are more excited about it. So those tend to be longer, and actually they enjoyed it so much they paid you to stay because you pay by the hour.
Yeah.
So they want you there, and then they would like, man, stay another hour and press. So I found actually you typically would enjoy those parties more because the children were more excited, they were into it. On the other hand, the other side of the fence, tend to be, a little less enthusiastic, I would say.
Stush.
Yes, for real. Yeah.
Is stush the word if I just interact with a clown? As a grown man. As a grown man.
No, but I wonder but in terms of, I wonder why, like, that excitement and enthusiasm comes from that, I guess,
They got less to be excited
exactly,
for.
The entertainment. Yes, it's a different level of entertainment.
The middle class must travel more.
Yeah, see more things.
Okay,
A little more desensitized.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
so those parties were really, really fun. And the other thing, so you could play all sort of games, red light, green light, 1, 2, 3, because you have to come up with things to keep entertaining the children. So it wasn't always, magic tricks and so on. You had to figure out something like you keep these children engaged for the entire hour, 2 hours out there.
So this was how many years you were doing it, you would say?
Let me see. I don't know, maybe 7 years. Let's think back. I would say probably 7 years. They probably got to a point where I realized that, okay, some advancement in my career now maybe
necessary.
Maybe, them 2 images you probably don't want to
wait,
mention.
so you were juggling the business. Like this was your...
it's completely weekend though. Completely.
Right, okay, cool.
Yeah, completely a weekend gig. Because, that's when parties typically...
Right, and so what was because this would have been your teens to early 20s.
Yeah, definitely.
So what was happening in the daytime? Like you were still in school after BCC?
No, so then actually right after BCC, I actually went to my first job at CIBC. So like the day after my last exam, I went to work at the bank.
Oh, that's a blessing.
Yeah,
really?
So that was in 1989, I believe. Yeah, so
okay.
Yeah.
As you, and we're gonna kind of chart that story, right? But as we leave this part, is there anything from that time you were a clown and the character building that you would have done then that you've taken with you into corporate?
I don't know necessarily, to be honest. Look, so before that, I used to be a checkout boy, actually. And I think I got more value from being a checkout boy than being a clown. I think what
There's a lesson there somewhere.
No, for real. The number one thing that I still think about from being a tackle boy is customer service. Like, I didn't learn this. There was this guy, he's a taxi driver now, and he used to exhibit the highest level of customer service. And you knew that because he got the most tips, right? He's a man that it used to be at Supercenter Oysters. He would know who the people that will pay. He go for the old ladies. He walk them all the way up to the bus stop, right? And I realized that he does that same thing now in his taxi service business. He understood the level of service. And I definitely from back then realized that was a skill set that I still think of today and still use actually in corporate world.
So if you had to just kind of summarize, although you said it just now, what you would determine to be like excellent customer service?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say that would be if you were telling somebody?
Yeah, no, identifying the need of the individual and then being able to go beyond what you would expect or they would expect you to do. Absolutely. I think it's as simple as that.
I ask about the what you learned as a clown though, because I found that I was a stage actor and also a poet that went into corporate, right? Yeah. And I was doing that while I was at UE and stuff, and that kind of thing. And I feel like everybody should do something in the entertainment industry at some point, because of the character building, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of humility. For example, Kofi would know the sets when the whole club jamming, but then also got DJ sets that he's a DJ. That just beer jump.
Yeah.
And it's like, it humbles you and you always keep grounded in that kind of way, that kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like that's a lot of those moments for me are character building moments in like performing and that kind of thing.
I find it interesting you said that because like exactly what you said in terms of character building, but I feel like everybody should work retail. Yeah. I wish everybody could have a space where you actually have so you can understand as a customer and on the other side of the fence, like what these hectic days look like. Especially like I used to work in town and in Sheraton around Christmas. I used to work for Tannies and ain't important. But like just dealing with people at Christmas time, which is a time it's supposed to be joyous, but people be miserable as France. You can't let them know you also miserable as France. Though.
Right.
So it's teaching like a level of patience and restraint that a lot of people ain't got.
Yeah. I think interpersonal skills. So even back to the whole clown situation and meeting people at different levels of society, seeing how people interact with you based on I guess their own sort of thought process around what a clown should be and how a clown should behave and so on. And people don't change significantly, but I think seeing how people interact with you probably is what I will take it from that.
Okay. So you move into corporate. I do remember that there's something that you said you always wanted to be a CEO or you always wanted to run a business.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Can you get into that?
Yeah. So it's a lot to get into. So I went to work at CIBC, and I think I had to do that. I wanted to do that because there was I needed a sense of independence. Remember I said I was raised by my guardian, so you don't. To me, you don't have the same level of comfort necessarily as if you live with your parent. So you feel like, boy, these people can't be supporting me for the rest of my life, right? So you need to go get a job. So that was the principal thing on my mind.
So you felt somewhat of like a burden, like
it didn't make me feel that way. For sure, it didn't make me feel that way. But in the back of your mind, you still feel like you don't want to be. If you understand, and I should say throughout the course of my life, I have always been, I want to say, blessed, fortunate, good fortune, because I think the opportunity I had to have been raised by my aunt was probably different to the opportunity my siblings had because they were raised by my actual mother and different circumstances. The Caribbean context, right? So going in that household was completely good for me. So, and gave me opportunities maybe that my siblings might not have had in the same way. And so, anyhow, into the world of work, at some point in time, I was part of an organization called JCI, Junior Chamber. Yeah. So,
I'm sorry, what's that?
Junior Chamber International. We would call it a leadership training organization, but it's really a social. It's already a community group.
Thing?
Kind of. Well, in the same vein as like Kiwanis, Rotaract, and so on, right? But it is specifically for people between ages, let's say 18 and 40. right? The DJ, Julia Chamber. So I was in this training session with a man called Tony Olton. And
Big up Tony, man.
Yeah, Tony, right? He had to do this goal setting thing. He had to write down these X number of goals. And I wrote down all these goals. And one was to be sort of like a leader of an organization. And I don't know which came first, because if I think back, when I was at community college, I was the guild president. So I think I always, in some way, always sought out opportunities to lead, to want to be in charge. I want to run things, basically.
I want
to run things. I want to make sure that it happened the way I want it to happen. So
that's a weighted statement. When you say that you want things to happen the way you want it to happen, where does that come from? Is that more?
It must be innate. I don't know.
I mean, like, is it more something where you feel like your way is the right way? That's not the way that
You said it real right.
I can say it. Right.
People who work with me now might agree with you.
Let me hear you.
No, I mean, I have a strong sense of self and strong sense of things that I want. I mean, but yeah, I think what it is, though, is that I like things to happen in a particular way. Not necessarily my way, but I want the outcome to be a good outcome.
Favorable.
Favorable. So
Jeff Bezos, she's on, right? I just misquote it all the time, but it's pretty much like be firm on the outcome, but easy on the details.
Ooh.
I am definitely misquoting it, but it's something along them lines.
That's on her, though. I hope he said that.
He did.
That's why he claimed it.
Jeff Bezos definitely said something, and that's what it means, but camera was like,
that's on her, though.
Yeah. I think part of it too is like sometimes it is easy to shy away from not being, from not participating in something. But me, I like to throw myself into things, and part of throwing yourself into things means that you might end up having to lead it.
Right.
Invariably.
Okay.
And I'm not afraid to lead things, for sure.
And do you think that there
lead? You said lead or leave?
Lead.
Oh, lead. Okay, I was not
lead.
Some people say that anybody can be a leader. Do you believe that?
I think you can develop and grow into a leader. I think some people are with some skill sets that puts them, predisposes them to being a good leader. But I do think that you could develop the skill set. I actually think people can develop to do pretty much anything they want in life, to be honest. That's a firm belief that I have, actually.
Okay.
So,
but everybody's starting at a different base.
Yeah, but people can start at different, that's correct, yeah. But I do have, fundamentally, there's something that I wrote down. I believe in the greatness of creation. And so for me, the mindset of that is that everybody has something to offer. So I don't start with somebody as like, I'm not sure if they could do this. I assume that they can do it or that they can learn to do it.
And leadership for you, when you got these leadership positions, is it what you thought it would be?
That's interesting, because sometimes I don't know if you were thinking of what it might be, but you happen to be there, you got into the role, and then you did what was necessary to make the role work. So in my current role, I can't say it. I had a lot of preparation before I got there.
Okay.
So in my sort of 20 years at the bank, I would have had so many opportunities to watch people, to learn from other people, so... And I actually think that's important to leadership in the end, right? Being able to build on a lot of experiences so that when you actually get there, you can perform. So I can't say, I don't know if it's what I thought it would be, but I certainly made it what I wanted it to be.
Okay. I actually want to find something in my phone, and I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah,
it's somebody that I really like. I know he's very controversial, but I really like Elon Musk.
Okay.
I know we've had conversations with him already. I'm going to read it to you.
Sure.
I've not thought about that man in days, bro.
Right. So basically, what he said is, a lot of times people think that. So you're talking about being a CEO of a company and also creating a business from scratch, right? But those two things, right?
Yeah.
But he says He says, if you're the CEO of a company, you actually have a distillation of the worst problems in the company. And the reason why is because there's no point spending time on things that are going right.
Mm-hmm.
So you spend most of your time on things going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And also because a lot of things going wrong, only you are the person that can fix.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a filter of the crappiest, most pernicious and painful problems in the company. So you feel that you're compelled to do it as opposed to focusing on the things that you want to focus on. Would you say that that is one element of being a CEO that people may not realize?
Yeah. I wouldn't go as far as that, but what I would say is that you get the most difficult decisions to make.
Yeah.
Because if someone else could have made the decision, or if it was easy for someone else to make the decision, then they would have. There are obviously wrongs coming up. But then what happens is that what ends up on your desk is probably the most difficult thing, or the thing that only you are authorized to make that decision. And that's why you get paid to be the CEO. But I think also you have to draw on the resources around you, because I don't think as the person who is most senior that you do have all the answers either.
Right.
And I do live that experience every day. I have a cadre of managers who are all qualified in their respective areas and who have years of experience and who contribute to the outcome of the decision. Now, I may, in some circumstances, make the ultimate decision or say, yeah, this is the way we're going, but that's after the contribution of a lot of other people.
It's nice to hear you say that, especially after saying that you like to lead because you like things.
Yeah, no, but the other thing too is that to be a leader, you got to be convicted in what you want to happen. So you can't be kind of like, to your point about knowing the outcome that you want, you can't kind of be wishy-washy. So yes, you might. I have a phrase: good reasoning gives way to better.
Gives way to better. Okay.
Right? So like if you have a good thought and somebody says, but here's a better approach, it's incumbent on you to go that way.
I want to ask you about CEOs in general, right?
Yeah, sure.
So there's another quote from somebody that I saw that said, basically, having a clue is overrated. There's this funny myth that people actually think they know what they're doing. I've spent some time with some of the richest, smartest, highest status people on the planet, and let me tell you, it's idiots all the way up. So normalize saying, I don't have a clue, but I'm going to work out how to do it anyway. What do you think about that?
You want to say something before me?
I can't any job say that. There is no job I can say so.
That one.
I don't know, but I can find out. My job is gone.
Okay, but before that though, in terms of it being that, basically the people that we thought when we were maybe younger or maybe at a lower rung and everything, we thought that they had this thing.
All the answers.
All the answers.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing.
Correct.
Is that ever the case?
Yeah. I have this 4P thing in my head. So leadership first is the position. So you get the position, but the position, you probably only get there for whatever reason. Sometimes you get there because you were the best at a particular thing, right? And you get because the second P is performance. And I think, so you prove that you got the position and you performed, so you delivered. And to me, performance comes from all your years of experience of seeing different things, so you could bring something to bear on that. And if you're skillful enough, you would bring in the thoughts of other people. The third P is production. So you put systems in place now so that people can get things right and so that the outcomes can happen. So I think the strength, I'm going to get to the last one eventually. So I think the strength of leadership comes from being able to demonstrate that you know what you're doing and then demonstrate that you could put systems in place for people to follow. So you don't have to have the answers, but you have to know how to get the answers from the circumstances that you're in. The last one is where this is a legacy thing now, which is they call parenthood or personhood. And this is where people, after you have left, they say, you know what? Marcus would have never do it that way. This is how Marcus would do it. That's when you have left a stamp now of your leadership, where people embody the way you do things, how you treat people, the style, the standard. And so back to your specific question, I don't know. And so I don't know necessarily that there's a prescribed thing that people come with. I think it's the way, how you approach it, how you approach problems, how you approach problem solving, how you involve people to get the outcomes that you desire.
I want to dig deeper, but Kofi, you were saying something? Or I want to dig deeper. I want to know when you get the top of, I guess, the mountain that you're on, and you kind of look like at the lay of the land. and you look at the people that you will call your peers or that people will call your peers, right? Do you see if somebody says that a lot of the people at the top may not be as fit for purpose as you may think?
When I look across the landscape, I would say that I see a lot of very capable leaders. It might coming up, and then when I look across the landscape, very, very capable individuals. I think people have different strengths. Certainly, people have different styles of leadership for sure. But I think certainly across, I say the Caribbean because I am exposed to leaders across the region, highly, highly qualified and actually highly intelligent people. And some of them are young too, very young, which I remember when I first, the company I work for is owned by K. Shepherd and it's owned by Grace Kennedy now, 50-50. Okay. And so I have this wonderful opportunity of sitting in K. Shepherd executive and Grace Kennedy executive meetings. And I remember the first time that I went to a GK, like this is many years ago, I went to a GK meeting. All the leaders were pretty much people who were 40s, maybe the oldest person was like 55 or something. And these people were exceedingly bright, smart people, right? And they were young. And I actually thought to myself that this is a company that is sort of driving for young leaders. It so happens I was a young person too in a K. Shepherd environment, more or less. And we were doing the same thing because the leader of Space Digital, for example, is a young female, Allison, and so on. What's his name? Peter are in the Fortress, so young people. So I look across those people, all smart, bright people.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, because I've heard that multiple times. Persons saying that that, and I guess more in a political space, you will hear that. When they look at, I guess, the world leaders. Yeah. I'm not relevant to Barbados only, but they would say, they gotta make these big decisions on it. But it just seems like they seem like somebody that, I would see like in the supermarket and I would be like, across the street, next to me on the bus stop.
But again, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Me personally, I don't try to pretend like I'm somebody bigger than I am or whatever. I don't expect. I think people are just people ultimately. Right. So they're people normal. They're just normal people. I don't expect them to be any more significant than
that's a standard that we put on them. Yes. Yeah. There's no reason for them to not go in the supermarket because they're a leader.
I think you have to normalize people, man. Yeah. Don't make them too bigger than they really are, I think.
Yeah. What would you say you look for in a teammate? Like, what would you say? Say like three things.
I like that. That's a great question. So my number, I was talking to some students at the Lord School the other day.
The Lord School.
Here we go again. It was going so well.
You know it's going to come back up too. You was waiting more.
Yeah. So I was telling them, I'm going to tell you what I told them. I told them, by and large, most people are average, to be honest. Most people are. So if you do the distribution curve, right, most people are going to fall in here. And I was saying to them, if you just do a little bit more than the average, you can move across here. And of course, if you do a little bit more than that, you could get across. So I think that three things that I would talk about, I would say, first of all, is attitude. So, they talk about you can hire for skill, but you can't, or you could train for skill, but you can't train for attitude. So you want somebody who, and as I said to them, nobody wants to work with somebody who's a surplus. You want to work with somebody who is interested and wants to be there. So attitude is like the number one thing. I would say you want somebody who is willing to do more than is required. It's almost like around job ethic, right? So some people will see their job as this, but the person who does a little more, he will be noticed. I could just think of people, in my past who, you could see that they even go the extra, and those people succeed. So you want somebody who's going to do that.
What's stopping about Apple from taking that extra mile and just taking advantage of it now? That's a new normal. Because they could argue, well, if I'm expected to do a little bit more than my contract says, then it should be in my contract.
Yeah, but then you're not going to create the edge. You know what you're going to be? You're going to be average in my view. You can do your job fine. You'll get paid, but you're not going to necessarily be seen or be visible, or somebody might say, you know what, this person.
I truly get that and what you're saying, but I feel like more often than not, I like to believe that everybody's doing the best they can. So more often than not, people are doing what for better for worse is the extra mile.
You think so? I don't actually think so.
I ain't sure.
I think people actually try to get away with doing the least. That's
it's something that I point on, because when you said that everyone is average or treat everyone like they're average,
he didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm trying to remember what you said.
I said that. I said most people will fall into this place.
But isn't that disappointing? As factual as it is.
Everything, man.
No, but I know what you meant. But isn't that kind of disappointing to think?
Not necessarily, because the distribution curve is a distribution curve. There are going to be people who are going to be excellent. There are people who are going to be there, and then there are people who are going to be in the middle. And I'm just saying is that you could actually get out of that space by doing a little bit more.
I ain't sure if it's that black and white.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people that put in extra work, put in extra mile. But for one reason or not, it could be personal bias. It could just be same attitude, because you could be putting in the work, but the work you're trained for, and if your attitude is, then you ain't ever moving up.
Well, you got it. You make any point, and it's true. That's one of the
I
two.
Feel like
one of my three.
A lot of these things aren't communicated to the individual.
Well,
so then it's like almost unfair to have you working an extra mile. It's almost unfair that
but you know
accept you doing a little extra when I ain't gonna ever push you up because you're kind of a bitch.
Yeah, but you're right. Well, attitude matters because you know why? Because culture in a business is fundamental. You want to build a culture that, people, like I say this, I try to build a culture of a place that I want to go to work. Right? I want to go work here. I want the place to be, highly productive. People want to succeed and exceed, but have fun at the same time. And I think that's what you want to do. The last one is, I would say, which is a little bit underrated, is maturity. People, and what does maturity mean? It means being able to, I want to say, have a sense of appreciation for, others in the space. Don't think that everything is, it's personal. Don't take things personally. Don't be a victim to the system. Don't feel like something happened is because, you were. Gotcha. Yeah. So you need a sense of maturity, and it's underrated, but it's very evident. It's seen, and it's recognized when somebody demonstrates maturity.
Okay, so okay. You see that last one? Okay. Because when I think of maturity, I also think of, I guess self-control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that speaks to it for sure.
Emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Discipline.
Oh, y'all calling all the words. Yeah. I love it.
Yes. Forgiveness. But I think so too. Okay, I can ask you a question, and these are very simplistic, binary kind of questions, right? Mm-hmm, sure. Somebody is performing very, very well in terms of like in their KPIs, they're exceeding expectations, right? Yeah. There's somebody else who meets the KPIs, I guess, but in terms of their attitude, their attitude is felt by the people around them a lot more. Mm-hmm. Who would you be more likely to give a promotion to?
Yeah, the person. Well, you said the person is exceeding the KPI. Sorry, when you say that their attitude is being felt around, what do you mean by that?
Their attitude positively uplifts the people in the culture, but their KPIs. Yeah, so all right. Yeah, but somebody else, but somebody else, they don't do that, but their KPIs are always met and somebody's even exceeded. What would you?
I don't know if it's black and white like that, but I think so. If you're meeting your KPI, actually exceeding your KPIs, that's gonna push you up for sure. You're gonna be seen for that. You're delivering on what you're asked to do. You're probably contributing to the performance of the company. Yes.
Elaborate on the Explain the KPIs.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mo.
That's boss. Y'all gonna do a little subtitle.
I put my title stuff. Okay. Right. Key performance indicators. So for example, a certain amount of
sales or
certain amount of
something
sales done in a month, or a certain amount of activities done in a month. What say KPIs,
like a standard,
right?
You could track how good the job is.
Thanks for explaining that to us.
Right. So there's So the measurables, right?
Yeah.
Versus the things. So I guess my thing is the things that are measured versus the things that are a bit more difficult to measure.
Yeah. I think, if I am honest and fair, I think the person who displays the better attitude, the willingness to be a part of the team, the willingness to put up the hand when something needs to happen, that's the person that will get the favor.
Because my thing, like, I was thinking about it as if I was like at the top of an organization, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's somebody that, same thing that Kofi said about they're giving their best at the time. For whatever it could be health reasons, it could be family,
station in life, right? Season of life, yeah.
Exactly. But you could tell though that every time that they come to work, though,
they put in the effort.
They put in the effort, and the high performers do 50% better because they're there.
Ooh.
So they are more likely to work longer hours. They're willing to put in the effort because somebody is uplifting their day. However, that person that written on paper, it ain't really there on paper. I will be more likely, because you said the culture is so important, to lean towards them. Now, of course, that will bring up a lot of issues in terms of what is on paper. We have a bias towards. So I can see the person that's on paper that exceeded their targets complaining a little bit.
Yeah, but in that scenario, just given the scenario you just give, like, let me say this company has 5 other employees. That's 5 people that perform 15% better just because there's one other person in the room. Like, don't even acknowledge their work.
Right.
These other people doing 15% better.
I guess the challenge about that is that it's difficult to quantify. Like, I'm only saying 15%, but it's kind of difficult to say, like, look, my presence being at work and the fact that I like check on everybody and see if everybody good and show up to all these staff parties and everybody care about me, whatever. And I encourage employee engagement. It would be difficult to say, like, because of me, there's a little bit of umph in everybody's step.
You still got to produce, though. You still have to produce a substantive job.
For sure.
Yeah, you still have to produce in a substantive role.
For sure.
But what if I produce, all right, but my presence, like, isn't there a way for, like, isn't there a way that I could show that when I'm not there, or when I'm at a different branch, whatever this hypothetical job is, performance is done at this branch, though. Like, we should be able to track using the same KPI, same metric. We should be able to track that, when I ain't here, shit is different.
I find that a bit difficult to do.
It's not that straightforward, but is the discerning leader to be able to, to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Right? And depends on the nature of your reward and recognition system, you may have a system where other employees can comment and they may actually acknowledge that this person's contribution is valuable, and that's how how you can get to that answer.
And sometimes it's not even anything that you would really like. It could be as simple as I didn't see Paul in the last 3 days. Let me check on Paul. Paul, how you doing? You good? You good? Yeah. How the kids? Everything good?
For real.
That sometimes he may be the only person that did that for you.
That's true.
And that's just I guess sometimes the people who exceed in the things that are like difficult to quantify.
The intangibles.
The intangibles sometimes could be the ones that may get the shorter end of the stick at times.
It's possible. In sports, they call it the glue guy. The person who keeps the team together.
Right.
And sometimes you need that. I think in an organization, you will have a multiplicity of people, or roles, and different people, and the discerning leader will know, okay, this person, and they may be rewarded. They'll probably have their job for a long time, actually. And because the other thing too, not everybody wants to be promoted or to move through the organization. There's some people who are very comfortable to stay where they are and contribute in that role and contribute strongly in that role. And you need to understand that as well. Not everybody wants to be a high flyer.
Are you happy where you are? Do you see yourself like?
Yeah. So I have been in this job for what, I don't know, 13 years. And I was a senior level employee in CIBC. And this opportunity came out and it went to be, I mean, what I describe it as a big fish in a small pond. So I was a big fish. I was I guess a big fish in a big pond, which made me a small fish in a big pond. Right. But I became a big fish in a smaller pond, right? And it was a tough decision, actually, to leave a company for 20 years to go to this company, but I have not regretted a day of it, because when you can see the output of your ideas and so on almost instantaneously, that there's a sense of reward to that. But I mean, in that period, the company grew, we merged, and I'm at a stage now where you're always looking for that next thing from professionally. And we're about to embark on some regional expansion, and I'm completely excited about that. So I'm very happy where I am.
Okay.
Very, very.
So as you just said, it's nice to see your decisions and you have immediate feedback. But aren't you even in your time coming up, the responsibility and kind of daunting?
It is very daunting and challenging, but that's what I think you want, right? You want a challenge. Maybe a year ago, I was thinking, honestly, I need another challenge. I need something else. And this next thing was it. Because when you have come to a certain point where you've accomplished and you've got all the things you've done, to me, I don't know, I feel like you always want the next thing to happen. So I was looking for that next thing to happen.
You can be CEO of Barclays. I don't.
Was there ever a time that you you didn't know what was gonna happen in terms of I guess the company's growth, and you were really challenged, and it may have been kind of a daunting time for you? In your 13 years
at Signet,
at
Signet and then Signet Globe.
Yeah,
I would say in that period, it must have been for everybody, but the most challenging time was actually COVID, because it was, and for a financial institution, there's so many things that can impact a financial institution. So I would just start with the simplest one, which is people not paying their loans, which is delinquency. I remember, we finance lots of vehicles. I think everybody probably knows that. And
I know.
I don't know where we operate next to us. There's a lot, and so that lot, we don't have cars there now, but there was a time we had about 150 cars in there. So much so that my board asked me if I was running a car dealership. But yeah, so that was very, very challenging, because you have to be understanding of the circumstances. I think at the time you had to give customers moratorium, which was a national thing, and of course the business still needs to perform, and you have all these vehicles coming back, and yeah, that was very, very challenging, but we got through it.
How did you handle that? I guess the stress of it and everything.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't say this lightly, but I really do believe that I have the best management team, and I also feel I have the best board as well. A very, very capable board that, they know when to be strong and to be demanding. Actually, in the 13 years that I've been there, I've never felt like somebody was over my shoulders. Wow. But in the time that we needed to focus on a particular area or a particular issue, so they would, ask you to think about that and focus on it. And I think that what we did, while it was difficult as a team, both from a board perspective and a management team, we just came together closer, and we sort of, where we would meet quarterly, you met monthly. And then as a management team, on a weekly basis, you focus on the thing, you work on it. I think one of the things that I tell people, if you want to resolve an issue, or if you want to become good at anything, focus, attention matters. So when we were having challenges, we say every week, we give it a name. I can't remember the name now, but let's say it was 50 million. We want something to happen. We got our 50 million meeting this week at this time. And every week at that time, and you go, you talk.
So you label it.
You give it a name. You give it a name, and you bring it to life, and that's everybody's focus. You're talking about it. You measure success. You measure the success, and you talk about the success. You celebrate the people with the success. So yeah, I found that you want something to happen, you apply focus on it for sure.
You say if you can name it, you can tame it.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
But tell me something. Okay, so you never really lost sleep over anything in your 13 years, like.
There are times that you could be concerned, but I don't know that necessarily I want to say exactly what would make me lose sleep.
Okay.
But yeah, there are things that could, you could wake up in the middle of the night and thinking, oh my goodness, I hope this doesn't happen. But
when you think of the things in my personal life that's got me like that, I can't imagine having so many people's livelihoods at stake. Because really and truly, everybody that works for a Signia depending on you.
Right.
Yeah, at some level, it's true.
At some level, I feel like. If you say, we're done with this.
I mean, it is a responsibility, I agree. And there are things that will make you concerned. But fortunately, I keep saying to our people, we are a blessed place because things work out in the end. But I think things work out because you put things and people in place to make it work out. You apply the appropriate focus. But there have been times when I could think of things that would make me wake up in the middle of the night for sure.
Because that's one thing that I know that a lot of people that say that they want to be at the top of an organization and stuff, but they may think about a lot. That are they ready for the accountability? And are they ready for the downside of, thinking, well, what if this goes wrong? The frontline staff, like I'm literally, I have to cut heads.
You got this department that just saying nothing.
Yeah, you gotta have these, it seems like it's just a series of hard conversations.
No, actually, okay, I'll tell you one. So, we had a merger. So you got Signia, you have Globe. That was a bit of a traumatic period because
people were made redundant.
They did. Fortunately, actually, we offered something. We offered a voluntary redundancy situation. So, people came forward, and then we were able to manage that in that way. What could have been a challenge is if people who you don't want to come forward, or people, key critical people, came forward, then you say, boy, I don't know if you want to lose this particular person. Right. but the reality is that we actually honored pretty much all of the requests, and it wasn't a terribly bad thing because then, so those people got paid out, they got what they wanted, and then you got a chance to rehire in some cases. So it worked out. We budgeted for it, and I think it was a win-win for everybody in these circumstances.
I think I could get paid out and get back my job.
No, but you can't do that, though. That's the only thing.
We hired a different talent.
We hired different talent.
Like, what?
Yeah. I think there was actually, you could, but I think there was a timeline with which you could potentially go back to those persons. But we haven't. Those people, when people leave, they probably go on to different things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Probably just done with that.
So that was actually a fairly trying time for sure. Yeah.
And I guess
emotionally, because you know how the team dynamic thing works. When people leave, there's a bit of grieving for that. You bring together the organization. You don't know how that's going to go. So it worked out. There wasn't any major fallout. So we worked out in the end.
And I guess some people are upset with you, even though it could be displaced aggression or a frustration, etc.
Yeah.
But I guess that comes with the territory.
Yeah, and also
blame somebody.
Right, and also when you merge two systems, some things that you knew may not exist anymore, and something. So people have to learn all over again, right? And that's a disruption that could be challenging as well.
Right. Most
work-life balance.
Oh, sweet.
Because if you finish with so work-life balance, it is understood or is believed that the CEO is probably the last person to leave. He is.
These people said it.
No.
This man is left out. This man ain't never seen
But it's also believed that the CEO is a person who has to be hyper-focused on this thing. It's the weight of the responsibility on your shoulders.
That's true.
And for many, anecdotally, CEOs are often said to not have a good social life. They're just, it's always work. Is that true for you? Number one. And number two, how do you balance that?
Yeah.
The responsibility of this work, you're managing this large company, and so many people depend on you.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's Paul Ashby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, so work-life balance. I don't know if it's balance is a word. I think work-life harmony. That's probably what. Yeah,
Okay.
Work-life harmony is what I would like to call it, because I feel like, there are fluctuations and flows of it. I used to be a person who would wake up very early in the morning. I still do, but for a different reason now. But I would wake up.
Holla. Okay.
Boy, you trying to get
It's a drink.
Boy, you trying to get Man, they drinking straight around.
So like I'm a 4 o'clock wake up guy to get ahead of the day. So by the time I get to the office,
Right.
I'm ahead of any challenges. Don't necessarily have to do that as much now. Maybe with this season that's coming up, that might be more required. But I am a gym going person, so I manage my other side of activities with. I go to the gym at like 5:30 in the mornings, 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. I play golf on Saturdays, and I do yoga on Sunday mornings.
Okay.
So I do have the physical side of that taken care of. I am actively involved in the Rotary Club, so I have a social community side as well. And in that, I was president of my Rotary Club, and now I'm the assistant governor of Rotary Clubs in Barbados. So it's not just my club, but I do all three clubs and then the actual Rotaract clubs. So my balance really is like I have full days, but it isn't all work.
Right.
It's it's the things that I enjoy doing. So there's the sporting side, which is golf, my workout side, and then my family side as well, right? So a full day for me is actually getting in all of those things and making them work harmoniously.
Harmoniously.
Yeah.
Have there been times where there was a challenge in getting that
balance to work?
Harmony right?
Yeah.
Especially with the home front.
Yeah. I'm fortunate in that what has happened in my sort of marital life over time is there have been times when, let's say the study in front, I would be studying and my wife wouldn't be, and then there'd be times when she'd be studying and I wouldn't be.
Right.
So over that time, we sort of managed that well. And then children came along and we figured that out. We both are into sort of the social club life because her not as much as I am, but she would support me in those areas. So we've kind of figured out a way to support each other on this journey. I know that's not always easy, the case, but somehow we figured it out, and I'm fortunate in that way, to be honest.
I can't remember if it came up, but what did she do?
So she is she works in government. I don't know if she would want me to say what she does, but she's a DPS, a deputy permanent secretary in government.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but
that's also a lot of work.
Yeah. She actually does have a very
honestly,
she has a very demanding job.
You skated over the kids thing, and I honestly wrote off a while ago, just like, this man just got children. I was just convinced.
No, my children are 22 and 21 now. They're a year and a half apart. And
right, so this would mean before signature.
This is right. Oh yeah, so my CIBC days. My children came along CIBC days. But in CIBC also, again, I have been fortunate to work in, some good spaces with good people. And in CIBC for most of my career, I was sort of like in a management role. I became I think I became a manager when it was my first management role was probably around 28. So
wow. Wait, sorry, that's especially for back then, that was like
So I was I was a sales and service manager, which actually was good for my career overall, because I got to, remember I said I saw a lot of people in leadership from a young age. So I was able to build on that over time. And so with that, you could sort of manage your time and so on a lot more effectively than if you were, let's say, a teller on your front line. So, It's quite different.
That is interesting. You think that? So, would you say that? I can tell you what people believe about CEOs. It's kind of like when you get to a certain level, it's actually a bit of the opposite of what Mosey was saying, and that they believe that the people at the bottom or mid do majority of the work. The CEO just tells people what to do. The reason why you are paid is you're paid to be accountable for anything that goes wrong. From a global perspective in terms of Signia.
Correct.
But in terms of actually doing the work, most of the harder work is done by different staff. Do you think that is true?
For the most part, the heavy lifting, people who are doing so just one of the things I may have to do is approve a loan from time to time, right? But there are lots of people out there who are doing loans, and doing a loan is not, not a straightforward thing. You got to gather the information and go through all that. I'm not necessarily going through that. I'll go through it if it comes to my level. If it's something that needs to come to my level, then I'll have to go through it. But I'm not getting hundreds of those like maybe somebody else who's, at a lower level. But the ones I'm getting, though, are more challenging. Or, you have to determine, there's a lot more... maybe analysis or figuring it out. So you're not getting the volume, but you are getting the difficult decision to make.
Sorry.
And you get a lot of those from different spaces as well. So if you have, let's say 6 or 7 departments, you're getting the most difficult decision from each department.
So and then we move to Kofi. So just to close off that question, you would say that you probably worked harder in your younger years than now.
I would say that I had more grinding work in my younger years. So longer hours, perhaps, more perhaps effort to do those things. But I think the work I have now is more maybe consequential in the sense that if you make a bad decision or a wrong decision or, I would say it's more consequential now.
I got you.
No, I was just trying to figure out, forgive my ignorance, but you were saying that occasionally you as a CEO would approve a loan. Like, I just can't figure out why would that be the case. Like, how would that end up on your table?
Because there are levels. So what happens is that, let's say I can just use arbitrary numbers. There are some people who could approve up to $5. There's some people who could approve up to $10, and some people could approve up to $20. So it basically is based on authorization.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So,
but then there's some that will even go beyond me for that matter.
What? So the board will go approve it,
or a credit committee, and yes, maybe a board. So then there's some people who approve $50, some people $100.
And then you go, what makes it difficult from one difficulty? You got to determine.
Because let's take somebody who doesn't necessarily, maybe it's not a straightforward situation. A loan is made up of I can use this, a number of parts, purpose, amount, repayment, term,
it's
and
not
security.
like an acronym, bad.
You definitely read. You have to be careful, Tony. Tony definitely. You definitely.
Right.
Tony
So
student.
the purpose could be one thing. The quantum of how much you're giving the person is definitely a thing. The capability to repay. Where's the source of it coming from? Is it a consistent source? You got. You convinced that this thing is gonna work. So there's a lot of variables.
I guess
it's not straightforward.
I guess I never like.
It's not always black and white. That's the truth.
Right. I figured I can see you don't make money, so you can't get a loan. Like, I just figured that's
no. So not everything is.
Well, the real banks is be calling you. I swear it gotta be that easy.
It
never get called off a loan.
I have.
Right. The way that,
in that regard,
it will gotta be easy.
Oh, I thought you was calling to ask.
So what happens though in a circumstance like that, Kofi, is if you have demonstrated a solid base of repayment, you say, this man Kofi, like he good, maybe give you some more money,
Right. I figure so. That's why when you say it's difficult, I'm like,
but if you're a business now coming to me, if you bring your business to me, now you say, boy, I feel that I could sell X amount of Akis. And they say, but you sure you can sell Akis from there?
Can you prove that?
Yeah. So that's exactly. That's a different proposition.
Yeah.
So a car loan is relatively easy.
That's interesting, and it could I just thought that it could go that high.
Oh, absolutely, and in a company or a size as well, because not that huge.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say even in some of the larger banks in Barbados, potentially the leaders of those banks will at some point see the larger loans or know that they are there.
Right.
Okay. So overall, I'm pretty much good. I have one last thing just to ask you. You being a male, we always try to just get from the men in the room, especially men that done well in life and stuff, their perspective on one or two things. You said that you were raised by your great aunt.
And her husband.
And her husband.
To be fair. Yeah.
Right. But they're...
I just laugh because
daddy, man.
After a while, you as a man could build a house, and then after a while, that's just the grandmother house, you know. Like that, nobody don't get to the grandfather. So at no point did they consider that their great uncle.
I never hear great uncles together.
It's just like auntie husband.
But yeah, you were raised by your great aunt. A lot of people say that, like, you know, that there's an issue in terms of like fathers not being in the home, and that's the reason why there are a lot of boys going like a wayward way, that kind of thing. And what's your take on that? Saying that you came from a different upbringing from people usually. Just so I understand, so that we would know a lot, because a lot of people have not really come from that two-parent household kind of thing too, and you did well. So what do you think about that?
A couple of thoughts on this. Actually, I think fathers are being a lot more responsible now, to be honest with you. Like when I had boy children in school, you see more males actually at events and taking the boys to football and that kind of thing. So that's probably not the same as maybe it was before. When I was growing up, although it was raised by my great aunt had children who were probably... They could have been my parents as well, essentially. Yes, I was saying. So actually, right, because they're my mother and them would have been first cousins, essentially, right? So I actually got a lot of my influence from two of my great aunt's sons, who are her twin
brother uncles.
Yeah, brother uncles, correct. I spent a lot of time. So I spent a lot of time in their households, and their households, like summers and so on, right? I was influenced heavily by them. Actually, it's the reason why I was so determined that I wanted to like be married eventually in life, because they had households which they were, married couples raising children, and you could see clearly that they were successful. So in my mind's eye, like this is where it had to be, right? So I felt that was significant. Like what you see growing up does impact you a lot, and that really was significant for me. And so I wanted to do that, and hence maybe why I'm in the circumstances that I'm in now. But I think that one thing when I reflect, I don't have a strong parental sort of, like, how people, I remember when I was growing up, you tell a man he want to hit you with a big rock. Right? And I could never understand why he would be so enraged like that, because I never really had that type of relationship. And it's not like I am, sorry for it. Not, I'm cursed by it in any way, but I do think that it could be important in a child's life growing up to have, both your parents involved in your life.
That's interesting that that never really bothered you, in terms of, because we actually have people here, sitting where you're sitting right now, that would have said that, it is something, it even weighs on their mind a little bit, that the fact that their relationship with their parents wasn't what it was supposed to be.
But he had, from what I understand, like more than one example of...
I had substitutes, right? Exactly. So I could see where my substitutes were, and they cared for me, brilliantly, to be honest.
So he wouldn't be lacking for that.
No. But in terms of your parents, there's no chip on your shoulder.
Nah. And I think I understood it. One thing that used to freak me out though is that when I was a boy running about in the pasture, I would hear people say, man, your father just got erode. And for years, I never knew who this person was. I never,
Really?
I met him like when it was like 30 or something like that. Or much
30?
like older in life, well older in life. For whatever reason, it just never happened. I used to freak me out because I'd be like, what do you man know who he is? He got me on a bicycle or something. I just never knew who it was.
You never know his name?
But yeah, I met him like later.
Okay.
You mean back then?
Back then,
Yeah.
You never knew his name, nothing.
I think I may have known
Well,
it.
they may have the Facebook online, so
Yeah, I may have known it for sure.
Yeah, because you know, I mean, Barbados is small, so I just thought, interesting.
But that was right. That's just one small experience. But overall, nah. I mean, I've lived a very charmed and blessed life, to be honest.
Charmed and blessed.
Yeah. Like I feel like at every stage, one thing. I also told the students, your circle of friends is a vital thing. Like, see how when a man connected is? Like, I'm sure you all agree, right?
Yeah,
depending on your circle of friends, you could go one way or another.
That's true.
I mean,
Actually,
it's a serious thing.
It's true.
It's
true.
So I tell them, like, choose your friends wisely.
that could have been so much better.
Pretty much done here.
For real.
That's incredible.
Like, why are you here?
No, but that is so interesting, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like, so I incorporate Mosey is artist manager, Kofi, DJ, but
Kofi's do things.
He does all kinds of things, right?
Yeah. Which is,
but if we think about it, I don't smoke. I don't drink too much. I never went to jail.
Give it time.
It's
yeah, but like all these things, right?
Real,
we're like that could really cripple your life development.
Yeah, man.
I think about my friends, and they never had that same experience too.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's really interesting you said that because I only know that recently. But the habits that I have, a lot of that may come from the fact that the man didn't do them things neither.
I can tell you, right? When I was growing up in the bank, it's called growing up in the bank, right? I had a circle of friends, and we're still friends now. We actually coined a phrase, APT, Association of Positive Thinkers, right? And we were so, I want to say, foolish. Men used to come work, we on front line as tellers, right? Men used to come work with Attache cases and things. Because we feel like, we want people to feel like we can be side. But in our minds, we thinking we want to get there sometime. We want to be in management, we want to be in leadership. All them fellas know at some level are leading something somewhere.
For real? You call the names now?
I could.
Yeah, call them, man. I want to hear them, man.
Andre Cadogan, Anderson Blyman, Shane Hewitt, Leon Lane, Roland Jones, Neil Griffith. Yeah, some of them men.
Whoa! So all them
men doing things. Adrian Padmore, that man's like some of them men senior men in the bank, some of them men around organizations, some of them men,
Whoa! Yeah.
Christopher McConney. Yeah, all of these. Just we feel like we arrived, but we were just basically tellers. But we had a sort of like a vision or an idea that maybe sometime we will. Yeah. And maybe there were some people who say, "Who them think that Miss though?"
Right.
Maybe there were, but we somehow we didn't seem to care for whatever reason.
Right.
I didn't want to keep you too long, but how do you find it difficult like choosing a circle or like choosing that right group of friends?
That's the other thing. I got multiple different circles, which is interesting. Right?
Nah,
so that's one group, and then I got like my Rotary group, and then
you got the clown crew. You got man, let's come on the clown car.
The clown crew saucy, man.
Come on,
I don't know if I guess you kind of gravitate towards people that make sure you're saying values,
right? Interests,
values or interests for real. And I do have my my Isla Mass people, but we
did not talk about that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But again, these are now professionals who just want to still maintain that kind of side of life. So I don't know. It's just interests basically.
Yeah.
Paul, well, I hope that this will be a new group for you. That's all I can say.
The vibe is good. The vibe is good.
Paul, I appreciate you coming through, man. Honestly, the wisdom that you have, and also giving us the different chapters.
Yeah.
I want people to hear that. I want people to hear that are doing great things. What it is to be someone that reach that level of CEO status. But I also want them to also hear that the beginnings that you came from were very humble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes you gotta paint your face and do something a little bit in order to get started.
Honestly, right? It's kind of nice to know a clown when she talk.
Truthfully, clowns. Yeah, that's why I have for the clowns.
When somebody call you a class clown, like,
It's true. Exactly. That's why I have for the clowns, man. With that being said, Paul, thank you for coming through. Appreciate you.
Thanks for the invitation. I enjoyed the conversation.
Honestly. With that being said, another great one in the can. I Know Podcast. We out.
Thanks for watching the I Know Podcast, Information, Knowledge, Observation. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you soon.